Hey, it's Mark Loftus, senior editor of Post Magazine. I'm in Las Vegas for NAB 2015, and I'm joined on PostTV by Nvidia's Greg Estes. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Great to see you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. You guys made a couple of announcements just a few weeks back with your GTC event, and now here at NAB, you've got demo suite set up, and you've got a lot of partners. What's your plans here at the show?
Well, we're in, I think, 70 different partner booths, so we're grateful for their support, and you can see all kinds of our GPU technology in there, mostly around the new Quadro line, and as you say, we just announced the new Quadro M6000, so it's our new flagship, 12 gigabytes of memory on there, so it's a beast of a card. And that's being used by, some of the color correction guys. SGO is one example, for instance. And anybody that needs very high processing rendering, anybody who needs kind of the pinnacle of what's possible for GPUs, and obviously we have a lot of lower end cards as well, but that's our new flagship.
Who are some of the partner booths that your technology would be seen at NAB 2015?
Oh yeah, it's kind of everybody through the whole workflow. I mentioned color correction already, so we're in Blackmagic, for instance, in DaVinci Resolve, Flame, all of those high-end ones, but also pretty much all of the editing applications. So we're the engine for Adobe with Premiere Pro, with Avid Media Composer. So it kind of runs through everything from motion graphics through the 3D tools. Maxon would be a great example, or the Autodesk suites and all of that, all the way through the very high-end processing. And then some super interesting stuff like what the Cinefilm guys have done with Wormhole, being able to shave time off of, say, the Super Bowl and go get another minute or 2 minutes off of that without dropping frames. That technology just blows me away. So really great stuff.
Amazing. Recently you introduced, talking about technology, interesting technology that has some applications for Post and M&E iRay. Can you talk about how that would fit into like a Post type of workflow?
You bet. What iRay is iRay is a physically based renderer. So it's used in the design market mostly. There's like 25 million designers out there, and iRay is it's like taking a photograph. So it calculates all of the light rays. It does path tracing, to use the technical example for the ray tracing it does. And then it can interact with physically correct materials to know exactly how light and those materials are going to interact together. So for instance, if you were going to design a new car, you would want to know if the sun was coming from this angle and the windshield is at this angle, how the light would interact if you had a tan dashboard as opposed to if you have a black one. It could create glare or something like that. So designers are all over it. In media and entertainment, usually you don't care about it being physically accurate. What you want it to do is look cool. But there's a couple of applicabilities here. One is, for instance, if you wanted to do pre-visualization, you're working on, I don't know, a Spider-Man movie or something, and you want to know what New York City looks like on April 18th, where the shadows are going to be exactly on 34th Street, or to do any kind of thing like that. It does an amazing job of that because it calculates everything using the real physical accurate. So if you knew you were going to set up your set on a given day, you could say, I want to be exactly here in the world at this time of day, and at noon on this day, and it'll show you exactly what that looks like.
And you'll know how the lighting is accurately going to be.
Yeah, so it's perfect for that. The other thing that we're showing here is folks who have been to Las Vegas may know the Vidara Hotel here, and it's got a certain curvature, and when the sun hits it, it actually comes down and hits the pool area where they've had to have it blocked off because of the intensity of the rays.
They call it the death ray, I think, right?
They call it the death ray. And this happened in London. It was probably the most famous example of a building they call the walkie-talkie building here. So in our meeting room, we've got a demo showing of how the sun came in, it hit this building that has a certain curvature to it, hit the glass on the outside, came down, and melted a Jaguar the 2 streets away, just in the way it hit. It didn't melt it down to the ground, but it melted the side view mirrors and some of the plastic parts inside. It's just incredible.
That's something that probably could have been predicted if they'd used a technology like iRay to figure out what the lighting might have been.
That, you got it exactly right. They could have solved that. They would have known it would have happened. They would have been able to figure out different ways it would have worked. They would have known exactly what time of day and where that would occur. So new tools are becoming available for visualization, and this whole idea of physically based rendering we think is the next big idea. So you're going to see us do it here, and we'll have a lot to show at SIGGRAPH as well. That'll be a big show for us around there.
Very cool. One other question I have for you is, I know you have a lot of meetings set up at a show like this, and you said many of those meetings are based on direct customer contact that you have. Can you talk about the importance of dealing with these studios directly and what their technology needs are?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we don't sell things directly. People buy our Quadro products through our partners like HP or Dell or Lenovo in a workstation. That's usually how people buy them. And then they'll usually buy them to run an application. It could be Maya or an on-air graphics package or whatever. But we have certain customers that really want to be on the leading edge, like all of the studios, Framestore and DNEG and Pixar and ILM and all those guys. They're creating their own software, oftentimes using our CUDA software, and they write their own renderers, or they're doing their own thing to have a leading edge, and they're not buying everything just commercially off the shelf. And in those cases, they're working with us not just with our hardware, but with our software too, trying to understand how to take GPUs and wring every little bit of performance out of it, or get them to do something maybe we didn't even design it to do in the first place.
Right. So that's part of the business of being here at NAB, is not only sell products, but to meet with the customers, find out what their needs are and how you're going to address it.
Yeah, and frankly, this market is one of the most interesting markets for us because they're trying to do something that nobody's done before. Like the government market, with 3-letter agencies in the Beltway and in Hollywood. It's kind of funny how they go together. They both want to accomplish something nobody's done before. We have other markets where they want to do the same thing they did last year, just for 12% less money or something, But yeah, this market really does. It's got such leading edge thinkers, and they drive us harder to do things. And that ends up being great for our business because it stretches us to do things maybe we didn't even see.
Well, I want to thank you for coming by the Post booth here at NAB 2015. Again, Nvidia's Greg Estes, and check them out online.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.